Yo, thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. It's 11:23 a.m. Pacific time. It's December 28th, 2025. Let's begin. Some say America rich, strong, powerful, and safe. But leaders across the US say households are struggling. Here's what the data shows. President Donald Trump is calling tariffs an economic drought. When he came into office for a second time, he implemented sweeping tariffs reforms in the name of putting America first. Economics and state officials have raised concerns that tariffs hurt the consumer, largely due to many imported goods charging higher prices, which can eat into the wallets of businesses and households across America. Reactions to the impact of tariffs on the economy have been mixed. Must Thanks to Jeff Bezos, you can now become a landlord for as little as $100. And no, you don't have to deal with tenants or fixed freezers. Here's how. Over the weekend, the president posted to Truth Social that tariffs have made our country rich, strong, powerful, and safe. Later in his post, he pressed the Supreme Court to rule in its favor relating to emergency tariffs powers 1 and 2. Governors across the country are reporting the impact that differ from the White House assessment. Here's what they're saying. How current tariffs can compare with the numbers. In his recent post, Trump said stock market and 401ks have hit an all inflation rises and taxes are down. The stock market has soared in the last year, and 401ks balances have risen to an average balance of $144,400, which is a record high. The number of 401k millionaires has climbed to a record high with more than 889,000 401k millionaires as of September 2025. Prices are in the latest data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics show inflation rate of 3%. Some categories with spike costs, including food with food at home costing 2.7% more than this time last year, and food away from home costing 3.7% more than last year. Electricity prices are also up 5.1% from last year. A recent survey of Colorado businesses found that the effects of import taxes have had a negative financial impact on their business. Additionally, the governor of Michigan's office recently found that the state's residents are facing higher grocery prices, more housing, and uncertain employment due to tariffs 8 and 9. It is worth noting that the economy is complex, as the impacts of tariffs ripple through the economy. Other factors like employment, interest rates, and more can come into play and affect the economic state of the country. Some impacts have been more directly linked to tariff costs. For example, in California, the governor's office reported that businesses in the state incurred $11.3 billion in tariff costs from January to May 2025, which represents the highest burden of any state in the country. Tariffs are creating economic headwinds in Texas. The Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas has noted that the Texas economy is cooling in the face of tariff uncertainties. The president of the Texas Business Council, Justin Yancey, recently wrote in a press release that the imposition of these tariffs on our neighboring countries will disrupt supply chains, increase costs for businesses and families, and create unnecessary barriers to economic cooperation. 11 and 12. The current overall effective tariff rate of 18.6% is the highest in for. How tariffs have hit households. Some estimates that The cost of these tariffs amount to an average tax increase of $1,100 per household. Analysts say this burden may fall more heavily on lower income households. Beyond household budgets, tariffs might impact the country's economic outlook. According to the tariffs implemented in 2025 add up to the largest U.S. tax increase as a percentage of gross domestic product since 1993. In the long run, the Yale Budget Lab expects the impact of these to shrink the U.S. economy by 0.4%. Of course, some goods are hit harder by price increases than others. For example, apparel, coffee, tea, and cameras have each seen price rise by over 7%. Likewise, some sectors are seeing more impacts than others. For example, manufacturing by 2.5%, but the construction sector is expected to shrink by 3.8%. The agricultural industry is already seeing the impacts of tariffs on commodities like soybeans, with prices going up in response to retaliatory tariffs put in place by China. How to prepare your wallet for the potential fallout of tariff policy? As you map out your budget, it's a good idea to expect prices for common household goods to continue rising. If you're struggling to keep up with rising costs, it might be a good time to start making swaps or cutting out certain purchases. For example, the fast rising prices of household furniture might mean that you can do with your current couch is what works for your budget, or opting to swap out ground beef for a less expensive alternative. As an investor, a change in reality for businesses could lead to varying returns. For example, companies with domestic supply chains and in-country operations might outperform companies that depend more heavily on imports. Diving into the details of a particular company's operations to confirm they are optimized for the current conditions might make sense before choosing to invest your hard-earned dollars. As the data continues to shift, the most practical approach is to stay attentive to how prices are moving in your own community. Keep some flexibility in your budget and investments, and prepare for a landscape where the economic impact of tariffs may evolve long before the political debate around them is resolved. What will we next? Some of the article sources are pretty straight. The tariffs are increasing in the year 2025, and they're going to keep increasing. Again, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. Let me know what you think. And follow me on Instagram, the Studio 11. Follow me on X, the Studio 2020. I like to say Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you on the next one.